Hi, I'm Jennifer, and thank you for watching my channel. I would like to give you a little tour of my sewing studio. I started sewing when I was about 5 years old, and this is actually the machine I learned on. This was my grandmother's sewing machine, and I've actually dragged this thing from Florida to New York to San Francisco back to Florida. I studied fashion design at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City, and it was really a great experience. I'm glad I got to live in New York. I think everybody should live in New York at least once in their life, even if it is just for a week. But I had enough of it after about 3 years, so I decided I needed to get to San Francisco to have a more laid-back life. So I packed up my car and my two best friends, and we drove across the country and landed in San Francisco. When I moved to San Francisco, I actually didn't know anybody there. I ended up staying in a youth hostel when I first got there, and then found an apartment about a month later. And then I started my business right there. I didn't really know what I was doing. I actually rented a garage space to have my sewing studio out of. Within a few months of arriving in San Francisco, I had opened up my lingerie line named Porcelynne Lingerie. I learned as I went. I made every mistake in the book, and I eventually wrote the book on not making those mistakes, called Fashion Unraveled. 2 years after I got to San Francisco, my clothing line was doing really well, selling in probably about 12 boutiques locally, and I decided to open up my own store. An opportunity had arisen that there was a space that opened up next to a friend of mine's shop, and so I opened up a designer cooperative boutique, and here's an article about that boutique. The boutique was also an amazing experience, but unfortunately I was actually running both a clothing line and a store, so it ended up taking up twice the amount of time, so I was working about 80 hours a week. And after 2 years I got pretty burnt out, so I closed up my shop and I moved to Oakland, where I had opened up my own design studio.
My name is Jennifer Lynn. I'm the designer of Porcelynne Lingerie. So we're in my design studio area. So I've got this amazing cutting table where I do all of my drafting and pattern work. I have my bolts of fabric underneath it. Right now I only have looks like about 10 bolts of fabric down here. Normally there's around 20 to 30. I usually take a trip down to LA and drive back up with a minivan full of fabric. Well, actually I got into lingerie design by kind of accident. I went to design school in New York City and just decided in my last quarter I wanted to learn something new. And so I ended up taking lingerie design and I fell in love with it. I'm now a teacher at one of the universities here, and honestly my inspiration comes from my students. Seeing all the talent that comes from them really pushes to get me out there and to do more of my collection.
Shortly after I closed my store, I decided that, well, I had all this free time left, and I sat down and I wrote my first book, and it was called Fashion Unraveled: How to Start and Manage Your Independent Fashion Label. And about a year later, I had such a great response from it that I wrote volume 2, which was about twice the size, twice the information, and it's actually been a great resource for a lot of independent designers. I started teaching at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in San Francisco around the time that I had my store. I was teaching draping, pattern drafting, and basic sewing. The year I closed my store was the year of the recession. So things changed a lot for me. I took an opportunity to move down to LA and teach full-time, so I jumped on that opportunity. And during my time in LA teaching at the Fashion Institute, I actually wrote 2 additional books, one on bra making and one on underwear making. I'm currently working on about 1 million different projects, but my main one right now is I'm actually working on a introductory pattern drafting course. You can see it's almost done. It's actually in its final revision, so I've got about 1 or 2 more edits to go and that will be done. Besides this book, I've actually been working on a lot of downloadable patterns. This sports bra is the Christina sports bra. This is the first release I have in my new size range. This one actually covers about 143 sizes, so I was really excited about getting this one done. This is the Rachel tank, and I also did a matching brief, so this is the Rachel brief. These are both kits that I have available on my website. So I haven't mentioned this previously, and you're probably looking at this table full of underwire and wondering, what else do I do? I've had a lot of adventures over the years, and when I decided to leave Oakland and move down to Los Angeles, I took a hiatus from designing. So I basically sold all of my supplies, and I didn't think they were going to sell very fast, but I ended up selling everything within a month. So it was a lot better than I had anticipated, and I knew that I had the resources when I went to LA to continue doing it. So that actually is what started my online supply business. So this is my stock room. This has about half of my inventory. The rest of it is actually all out in the sewing room, hidden underneath the tables and on the shelves. I learned to utilize every single inch of space, which is why everything is up to the ceiling. But as you can see, I have everything from elastics to rings and slides, channeling. This channel features a number of different sewing tutorials based on the patterns I have created and the books I have written. I have also created a number of videos for teachers to actually learn how to teach the material that's in my books. So you'll find a number of those. There are several other videos from projects with my daughter to just other project hacks that I work on. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about me or what I do, you can check out my blog or my website at porcelynne.com.